Okay, good morning students. In this session we will continue with the structure of sperm. So in the last session we discussed that how the sperms are formed and what are the events occurred in. There are 4 different phases are there, and that how these sperms are formed from the germinal epithelial cells or germinal mother cells, so which are in a diploid state, and due to the mitotic and meiotic divisions eventually, so then the haploid sperms are formed, and that entire process is known as spermatogenesis. So as a result of spermiogenesis, so due to some changes occurred in the structures of the cells, so finally the haploid sperm is formed, or it is also known as spermatozoon. And when we see the structure of a matured spermatozoon, so why I am calling it is a matured spermatozoon means starting initially the sperms do not contain the tail and other structures in it. So when it attains its maturity, so the complete sperm which attains the motility. So the main character of the sperm is motile. So its motile nature is due to the acquiring of the structures which are eventually occurring in the sperm structure. So now we will see the how this sperm structure will be that. A typical sperm structure, now we are drawing that. So here the mainly the sperm contains 4 different structures. So where the mature sperm, and here in the middle of the head region, so there is a large nucleus is present and other cell organelles. So it is also as a somatic cells, all the cell organelles are present in this, and but here the Golgi complex is converted into or changes into the cap-like structure on its head, which is known as acrosome. So this is a typical spermatozoon, a mature spermatozoon structure, and the structure is very important, as sometimes they may ask that. And here the sperm is differentiated into or divided into 4 distinct parts. So what are that 4 distinct parts is? The first one is head. So this region, large anterior most part of the sperm is known as the head. So the first part is head. It is a large distinct part and which is present anterior most side of the sperm. And the second part, which is a very small part, very short piece, that is, and this one, so only this much part is known as neck. So the second part, which is a short and a small structure and which connects the head and middle piece. So the third part is middle piece. So which connects these two parts is known as neck. The second part is neck. And the third one, which is somewhat broader and the long part, is known as middle piece. So it is known as middle piece. So the third part is known as middle piece, which contains a large number of mitochondria which provide energy for the motility of the sperm. So it is known as, the third part is known as middle piece. And the last part, which is a narrow and a long tail like structure, and of course it is known as tail. So these are the four distinct parts of the matured spermatozoa. And here is, I will write, the fourth one is tail. And now we will come to the head part, which is a anterior part, anterior-most, and which contains nucleus, a large centrically located, that means it's located in the center of the head, and the nucleus is present in the head region, which contains the genetic material. So it contains the genetic material with haploid number of chromosomes. So that means haploid set of chromosomes. So here this nucleus contains, so as we are discussing the human sperm, then in the human sperm it contains the 23 chromosomes. So this nucleus contains haploid number of chromosomes, that is 23 chromosomes are present. 23 chromosomes are present in this nucleus, and the entire sperm is covered by the plasma membrane. Plasma membrane, and at the tip of the head, so that means anterior to the head, so there is a cap-like structure, and which is known as acrosome. This cap-like structure, acrosome, contains enzymes. So it contains enzymes, and these enzymes are helps in the fertile of the ovum. So this helps in the fertilization of the ovum. So to fertilize this sperm to the ovum, first it has to be penetrate into the ovum. So for that, and we know that ovum is also covered by some membranes. So these are called egg membranes. So if it is the ovum, it is covered by the 3 egg membranes, 3 layers of egg membranes. So here is the nucleus of the egg, and for the fusion, that fertilization means here what is fertilization? The cytoplasm combination of the two cells, and mainly the nucleus. Nucleus has to be fused with each other. So then only the chromosomes are unite. The 23 plus 23, 46 chromosomes will appear in the zygote. So here, to reach this nucleus, so the sperm nucleus must be reached to the egg nucleus. So for that, these membranes first disintegrate. So these membranes must be, this sperm must be crossed through these membranes. So this disintegration of these membranes is done by the enzymes which are present in this acrosome. So this acrosome mainly contains like proteases and lysozymes. So lysozyme enzymes mainly for the breakdown of the egg membranes. So these enzymes which helps in the disintegration of the egg membranes. So later we will discuss how these membranes are formed and everything. So when we discuss with the structure of egg. But here the simply we can say that these enzymes are helps in the disintegration of the egg membranes to reach the egg nucleus. To reach the egg nucleus. So like this the enzymes helps in the fertilization, and those enzymes are present in the acrosome, and this acrosome is derived from the Golgi complex. So this is derived from the Golgi complex. So during spermiogenesis, some changes occur in these structures. So among that, the first one is the Golgi complex is changes into the acrosome, and which contains the number of enzymes which helps in the penetration of the sperm into the egg. And the next part of the sperm is known as neck, and it is a shaft which connects head with the middle piece. So it is connection between the head and middle piece, and it has two centrioles. Two centrioles are present in the sperm. So that is, one is proximal centriole towards the head. Towards the head, one centriole is present, that is known as proximal centriole. And the second smaller, this is the larger centriole when compared to the second centriole. So this second centriole is known as distal centriole. Distal centriole. See, the proximal centriole is a larger centriole. It is located towards the head, and the second centriole is known as distal centriole, and which is a smaller centriole. Then it is located towards the middle piece. Towards the middle piece. So this is the neck region. And the next part of the sperm is middle piece, and this middle piece is centrally it contains axial filament. Centrally it contains axial filament, and middle piece also contains numerous mitochondria. That means the large number of mitochondria are present. Large number of mitochondria are present in spirally arranged manner. So they are arranged spirally. See, this is the arrangement of mitochondria in the middle piece. So they are arranged as a spiral-like manner. And what is the use of this presence of mitochondria in this sperm? Means this provide energy for the motility of the sperm in the female genital tract. So after ejaculation, ejaculation means the insemination of the semen into the female genital tract. So that is known as ejaculation. After that ejaculation, the sperms must be reached to the ampulla region of the female reproductive system. And for that motility, to the vagina, into the vagina first semen enters or sperm center. From the vagina to the oviducts in the female genital, that is called female genital tract. So up to that region, these sperms have to be moved, and that motility is enhanced by the energy provided by this mitochondria. So due to that reason, the middle piece contains large number of mitochondria. And finally, the last part of this type is known as, and again this type is divided into two parts, proximal type, proximal and distal. Difference is here, the proximal type is covered by the plasma membrane. So here this axial filament from the middle piece, it extends till end. Okay, so this is completely, so in between this here a small line, that is axial filament, and that is from the middle piece, it extends up to the last, so that is tip of the or end of the sperm. And here the proximal tail is covered by, so in this also axial filament is present. Then that axial filament is covered by the plasma membrane. And distal, this distal region of the tail do not contain plasma membrane, it only contains the axial filament. So that means axial filament do not covered by the plasma membrane. So up to here only the plasma membrane is present. After that, the naked axial filament. So it contains naked axial filament is present. So this distal tail contains naked axial filament. So this is the structure of the sperm. And during ejaculation, some lakhs of sperms enters into the female genital tract. So at one ejaculation, during one population, during one ejaculation, then the millions of or some lakhs of sperms enters into the female genital tract, so through the semen. And here, out of these some lakhs of sperms, only one sperm is fertilized with egg. So that is there is a competition among these sperms, and only one sperm reaches up to the egg, and that sperm only fertilizes the egg. And out of this, for fertility, so for the fertilization with the egg, nearly 60% of the sperms. Say for example, I will take the 100 sperms as an example. Out of these 100 sperms, 60 sperms must be contain normal size and shape. Normal size and shape. So this is the normal human sperm. And 40 sperms, 40% sperm must acquire motility to reach the egg, to fertilize the egg. So this is a very important to remember. Most of the time they ask the question, what is the percentage of the sperms to be in normal size and shape, and what is the percentage of the sperms to be the motile, should be the motile. So this is the percentage. Out of 100, out of every 100 sperms, 60 sperms must be normal size and normal shape, and 40 sperms must be they have to ability to motile. So they have capacity, they have to be that capacity to motile. So this is important to remember that. So this is the structure of the sperm, which is 4 distinct parts are present: head, neck, middle piece and tail. So among these, all the parts are very important for the normal fertilization. So then only it leads to the fertilization process. So this is about human sperm. And now we will go through the oogenesis. In the gametogenesis process, the next type of gametogenesis is oogenesis in the females. So here, in females, oogenesis process is known as discontinuous process. So it is known as discontinuous process. Discontinuous process. Why it is known as discontinuous process? Means the starting of the formation of the germinal epithelial cells are started in the fetal stage only, in the embryonic stage itself. If the fetus is female, so then the starting of this oogenesis starts at before birth only. Then after birth, the process of oogenesis stops temporarily. After that, when the female attains to puberty stage, then once again the oogenesis process continues. So it's just resumed after puberty. So that's why this is called discontinuous process. So starts at birth, before birth, then after birth, that means during childhood, no oogenesis process, no development. Then puberty. So first before birth oogenesis process, and during childhood there is no oogenesis process, and then after, that means from the puberty, so then once again the oogenesis will resume. So that's why it is known as discontinuous process. So we will just so here the first month of the gestation period we will take, right? First month of, because oogenesis process is started before birth. So now we will take the first month of okay. So oogenesis process, we will discuss now oogenesis process, the formation of egg from the oogonial mother cells, and this process is known as discontinuous process in the females. Why it is known as discontinuous process means the process of oogenesis starts before birth, then after birth. So when the baby is born, from that period to the puberty, oogenesis is resumed. Then after that puberty stage, once again oogenesis process will continue. So that's why it is known as discontinuous process. We will little later we will discuss with that. So before birth, if the fetus is female, so then the female fetus. The first month of the gestation period. Here we have to be one thing clarified, that is pregnancy and gestation period. What exactly the pregnancy and what exactly the gestation period? Pregnancy means starting from the fertilization. So once the zygote is formed, then onwards it is known as the pregnancy. Once the fertilization has done, then it is a pregnancy. But gestation period means when that zygote after cleavage, so especially at the blastula stage, it enters into the uterus. Then in the uterus of the mother, then further development of fetus takes place. So that period, that means when the embryo enters into the uterus, from that till birth, that is gestation period. So gestation period is just like that, the development of the embryo within the uterus. But before that the fertilization has done, then zygote undergone some cleavages. So zygote reaches to nearly 8 to 32 celled stage. That entire process takes place in the fallopian tubules or oviducts. But gestation period, that entire process is known as pregnancy. That entire period is known as pregnancy. But gestation period is the development of fetus or embryonic development within the uterus. So from that we have to take this oogenesis process, because the organogenesis is going to be after first month. So that means the first month itself the heart is formed. So little later we will discuss with that in organogenesis. So in which month which organs are formed. So here, but oogenesis process is started at the first month of the gestation period. So here, at the first month of gestation period, nearly 1700 primary follicles are formed. Primary follicles are mother cells. So these are known as mother cells. So mother cells means here what it means, from which egg is developed. Then this is the first month. At the first month of gestation period, there is 1700 primary follicles are developed. Then the second month of gestation period. Second month of gestation period here. So multiplication takes place here. Mitotic division takes place. So here mitotic division of these mother cells. So this mitotic cell division or mitosis, that means these cells multiply and these mother cells are diploid. Then these are also. Then the number increases only the number of these cells increases due to the mitotic cell division. Then it reaches up to the 7 lakhs. So now at the second month of the gestation period, this number increases to 7 lakhs in each ovary. In each ovary. So there is another ovary, the same process is taking place. Because ovaries are paired structures, so I am taking this number in each ovary. In a single ovary, this is the number. And this is the same primary follicles again. Because the only number increases. Then at the 5th month of gestation period, 5th month of gestation period, again this number disintegrates. So most of these cells are undergo astresia. So the cells undergo astresia. What is astresia? Means most of the cells undergo shrinkage or degenerate. So most of the cells out of these 7 lakhs at birth, so most of the cells undergo the astresia, and now the cells become the 60,000 to 80,000 in each ovary. So finally at birth, so when the baby is ready to be born, at that stage each ovary contains only 60,000 to 80,000. So this is at birth, number at birth. So then this number is maintained till last, but out of these 60 to 80,000 of cells, only few cells are developed into eggs. Again, not all these cells do not develop into egg. Only in every 500 cells, only one cell is develops into egg. So this process again, so up to this is at the birth. This process will. That means only multiplication takes place in the follicles. So that is in the mother cells. After that, once this number is reached in each ovary, so where at the time of the birth, this is the number. After that, during childhood, so that means after birth, this process is resumed. That means temporarily it stops this process. Then when this individual attains to puberty, so then it attains to puberty. So here puberty. Then out of every 500 cells, one cell is develops into egg. So further development. So further these primary follicles, further they developed into the primary oocyte or secondary oocyte, oogonia. So that is during puberty stage. So again during this puberty stage, once it reaches, then further development takes place. So that is the development of egg takes place only after puberty. So that's why this is called discontinuous stage. Why? This oogenesis process temporarily stops between birth to puberty. Birth to puberty. Between this period, no oogenesis process takes place. So that's why this is known as discontinuous process. So this is only the number wise. So how the follicles are multiplied and again so reduced the number. At the 5th month or 2nd month of the gestation period, it reaches 7 lakhs of cells. But during birth or at the stage of birth, so it number only 60,000 to 80,000 in each ovary. And again, even after that also, out of every 500 cells, mother cells, only one cell develops into an egg. So this is the number wise how the oogenesis process. And actually, what are the stages involved in this oogenesis process? This oogenesis process is completed in 3 phases. So as spermatogenesis is completed in 4 phases, and here the oogenesis process is completed in 3 phases. So the first one is multiplication phase. Multiplication phase. And here it is mitotic division takes place during this phase. So here mitosis takes place. And then growth phase. The second phase is growth phase. No cell division takes place, only size of the cell increases. Then maturation phase. The third phase is known as maturation phase. And during this maturation phase, the meiosis cell division or meiotic cell division takes place. Meiosis takes place. So these are the 3 stages in the oogenesis process. So one is multiplication phase, where the mother cells undergo mitotic cell division to form the secondary oogonial cells. Then growth phase, only size of the cell increases. Then maturation phase, where the meiotic cell division takes place, and finally ovum is released or ovum is developed. So we will see how the phases are taking place here. First, only single cell I will take, single primary follicle cell or single, this is the germinal mother cell or oogonial, oogonial mother cell. So this is the oogonial mother cell. And here multiplication takes place. So that means due to the mitotic cell division, due to the mitosis. And we have to remember that from one oogonial mother cell, only one egg is formed. So unlike sperms, from one spermatogonial mother cells, 4 sperms are formed. But here from one oogonial mother cell, only one develops into egg. So that we have to be mentioned here, because so this mitotic cell division takes place. First we will take that nucleus, because during this mitosis cell division, no chromosomal number changes. So whatever the number is present in this, so from that the same number of chromosomes are present in this oogonia also. So this is called oogonia. And other cell also found here because it is a mitotic cell division. So this is known as multiplication phase. And this multiplication phase is found at the first month of gestation period. First month of gestation period. So due to this mitotic cell division, the number from the 1700 to 7 lakhs. So this is all before birth. Multiplication phase takes place before birth. Before birth. So then up to this, the before birth, this processes takes place. And then the second phase, that is growth phase. So here, due to the growth phase, no cell division takes place, only size of the cell increases. So size of the cell increases. How the size of the cell increases means by the formation of yolk. By the formation of yolk, that means the cytoplasm content increases. As a result of that, yolk is formed. So this is the growth phase. Growth phase. And here the size of the cell increases due to the vitellogenesis. And we have to remember this. What is vitellogenesis means? The formation of yolk. That process is known as vitellogenesis. So the formation of yolk. So due to the formation of yolk, automatically size of the cell increases. So it just becomes bulged cell. And now this cell is known as primary oocyte. Primary oocyte. Now this primary oocyte undergoes meiosis 1. Meiosis 1. So as a result of this, this is the meiosis 1. So because meiosis 1, meiosis 2, 2 meiotic divisions takes place. So here, and from this one primary oocyte, we know that only one egg is formed. That one egg should contain haploid number because here meiotic division. So then what about other set of chromosomes? So where it goes means, first I will take the nuclear division. So this nucleus division takes place first. So here this is one nucleus after meiosis 1. Then this is another nucleus. And after this, the cytoplasm division, cytokinesis takes place here. So during that cytokinesis process, this one gets very small quantity of cytoplasm. So very small quantity. So this cell contains. And this cell, the second cell, contains large quantity of cytoplasm. More cytoplasm is present in this cell, less cytoplasm is present in this cell. But nucleus is equally divided. This will get 23 chromosomes and this nucleus gets 23 chromosomes. Only the difference is the amount of yolk and amount of cytoplasm is different. So here it will get more cytoplasm and it will get less cytoplasm. The cell which gets the more cytoplasm, more amount of cytoplasm, so that will develops into secondary oocyte. Secondary oocyte. Then the cell which gets the less amount of cytoplasm is known as then first polar body. First polar body. It disintegrates after. There is no use of this disintegration of the polar body. But in some cases this polar body retains in the female body. But however in the ovary. However, so we don't take this one. But now we will take this only secondary oocyte. And what is the chromosomal number in the secondary oocyte is, so it is even primary oocyte also that diploid. Then this primary oocyte undergo the meiosis 1. So the chromosomal number is reduced to half, so that it gets haploid number of chromosomes. So secondary oocyte and first polar body are formed due to the meiosis 1 of the primary oocyte. So here in simple way, if I will say that primary oocyte undergo meiosis 1, and as a result of this meiotic cell division, so there are two different unequal sized cells are formed. One is first polar body, which is a smaller cell, and larger cell which is known as secondary oocyte. So here both cells are haploid. This polar body is also haploid. Then this is also contains the haploid number of chromosomes. And here at this stage the meiosis 1 is arrested. So this process of development of cells is arrested at this stage. So that is arrested in diploid stage. So I think you remember these cell divisions, meiosis cell division stages. Diploid of prophase 1 of meiosis 1. At this stage, the development of these oocytes is arrested. That means it stops at this stage. So then further development of secondary oocyte takes place only after the insemination. So that means when the sperm enters into the female tract, that induces the formation of egg from this secondary oocyte. So then this secondary oocyte, so just I will write here that secondary oocyte, and this secondary oocyte again it undergoes meiosis 2. Meiosis 2. So as a result of that, again say the ovum, this is known as ovum, is formed, and again small tiny polar body is formed. This is known as second polar body, and this is known as ova or egg. So this is the process of the oogenesis. So here these are the events: growth phase, maturation phase and multiplication phase. And from here it is known as maturation phase, where the meiotic division takes place.